All right. It's now time to bring the Pah Kwan San in, who's going to be here for what I hope to be is going to be a beloved and empowering message for all of you. I'm going to start together with the Padasanka with a very short meditation to set the energy a little bit, to get out of our heads, and then I'll leave and the Pah Kwan San will be here. For anyone that hasn't listened to the Pah Kwan San before yet, he's a Lemurian energy. He used to be part of the what you could call the organizational part of Lemuria. He was part of the councils of Lemuria. All of this information, if you don't know much about Lemuria or you don't know much about what I've been saying during the introduction, which largely was a summary of some things that have been discussed in great detail, of course, in past work. All of you can simply go to our website, imzaia.world. You can go there without making an account, simply just by being there, or you can decide to make a free account and then you can comment and that sort of thing and interact with one another. But there, you can go and watch all of our work since 2005, which is like over 400 pieces of channeled information or something like that, plus a whole bunch of extra articles and extra videos, radio shows, video shows, that sort of thing, that explain in great depth some of the things I've been speaking about earlier, and of course also much more than that. So you can just go there and pick it up where we left it off after this introduction here. One more note, there's a couple of, quite a few pieces actually, of the original material that we've recorded since 2005 that is not yet online. We are still working on restoring all of that and making it available to everyone again. For everyone that is here, you'll be glad to know that the first 50 to 70 pieces of the material were actually channeled in Dutch. Starting with the Familie van Licht, or the Family of Light, which is an angelic group of beings, including Michael and all of them, that came in from 2005 until about 2007 and presented all of the material that we did at that time. We presented all over Antwerp back then and Ghent, basically all over Belgium and the Netherlands. Eva, who's currently not here, she's coming back soon. She was the one responsible for organizing all of those events, so we owe her a great deal of gratitude for all of that. She'll hear that later, I guess. And after the Family of Light finished its material that it presented, which was all about a concept they called ascension, insensi, instead of ascension. They said about much of what I've been talking about earlier, that all of these things needed to become part of you, needed to be brought back out of you, and that was the ascension process preceding the ascension process, basically. After the Family of Light, we went for a couple of years, maybe a year and a half, with the energy of Source, who also came through this body quite a few times. Basically the energy of spirit, you could say, or the creator self, that also presented a whole bunch of messages. In those days we did what we called quantum classes in Wilrijk and in Belgium, somewhere else in Leuven, I think, and also in the Netherlands, in Stein, actually, in Limburg, which was groups of people that would come back every Wednesday and Saturday, and all of that material is also available, and you can see if you go through that, also in Dutch, by the way, that there's a lot of steps that are taken. There's a lot of practical information for you to work with. Just to get my linearity straight here, then after Source, there's Eva. After Source, that material was finished, we started with the Cosmic 12, which at first were a little bit mysterious about their origins, but very soon it became very clear that these were the Ascended Masters, such as Dame Saint Germain, Kutumi Lal Singh. Singh is certainly part of his name, because if any of you go to the website or have listened to Kutumi in 2007, then you'll hear me sing. because he likes to come in and start with a song. He always does, and he always changes all of the words into katumi almost. I hope you're going to enjoy that energy, maybe on the 29th of October, when we have our first metaphysical salon here as well. The room and the house will be a bit further advanced by then. Initially, we were only planning to start like in February or something, but I couldn't wait any longer. That's why everything is half finished at the moment. But it gives you an opportunity to go back to all the old material. After the Cosmic 12, after Katumi and Adamus and all of the others started making themselves known, we also started getting messages of an entity which I already spoke about earlier called Solaris, or Da Solaris Sun. Solaris is basically the consciousness of the central sun, the heart of all of the black holes and central suns that are part of our solar system, our galaxy and all the other galaxies. She speaks of herself as the energy that all of us pass through or spend time with as we go into this reality. She's a very loving energy, and I hope that all of you, maybe on the 29th, get a chance to hear her and experience her live, because it always makes us cry, to be honest, when Solaris comes in. And after that, things kept evolving. More teachers. The Pah San is one of those teachers. You could call him the teacher of teachers. And many more. In the last couple of years before we took a break in 2016, let's say, we were getting messages called the solar activations, and they are messages from this sun, our Earth, our moon, Venus, all the planets in the solar system, basically, and they have quite some messages for humanity, especially if you look at the years that came after 2016. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a summary of everything that you can actually find on our website, and also the evolution that this work has gone through. As you listen to the very first messages, we always have to laugh with this, of the family of light, the distance, metaphysically speaking, between this body and them was so vast that they always raised the pitch of the body's voice to such a level that you sometimes think it's not going to get recorded, that only dogs could hear it. But that gradually changed over the years, and all of the beings that come through now are more used to the body. Ultimately, I may have to say that I am not the original being that started all of these messages. That was David Dubier. He was the original body owner, as I often call him. He was the person that was born in this body. He started in 2004, 2005 with automatic writing, which, if you look at the very first message, session 1, on our website, is actually the result of that. He was at a meditation evening in a house of a friend, and in the middle of the meditation he reaches for his notebook, he feels that happening, and he begins to bring in these messages from the family of light. After a few messages, 6 or 7, that became spoken, and he established a very deep personal relationship with all of the beings that came through, and in April 2007 was given the chance to leave the body and continue his evolution elsewhere. And that is exactly what he did. And we still applaud him for that. I know that may be strange for some of you to hear, but after that, it was the era of 2 years at least of Yeshua ben Ekara in this body. An energy that is very closely connected to the Ekara energy that you are going to be listening to, hopefully in a minute when I finally stop talking, is what I just heard. He was here for 2 years. I won't say too much about him. You can listen to him, there's a beautiful and very long 3-part seminar on our website called The Meaning of Life. And in that series of more than 50 videos or something, you can watch Yeshua in action. You can say who you like best, him or me. And you can listen to a lot of the material I just spoke about earlier today in that particular seminar series. In that seminar series is when Mastering the Grand Illusions was recorded. In itself a series of 14 parts, which speak about the basic issues that keep us from establishing the type of constant community and the type of open-hearted personality that I was just talking about. And these grand illusions are the grand illusion of form, that's a big one, time, space, exchange, death, and separation. And as a.k.a. always explains it, he says, just look at the hand if you want to easily remember how these work. Because you could say the first 5, form, time, space, death, and exchange, could be seen as the separate fingers of the hand, while separation is the palm of the hand connecting all of the fingers. So the illusion of separation is the one that is keeping all of these other ones alive. The illusion of our separate forms, the timing of linearity in which we experience reality, space, exchange being in everything, not just in money. Even these words are exchange right now. You can't go without these illusions if you are creating a vibrational reality. But you can rise above them. You can invert their geometries, as I've just said, and turn them back into their original states, which are love, joy, freedom, truth, gratitude, grace, and well-being. Or in Lemurian, love was expressed as Da, joy was expressed as Ba, freedom as Va, truth as Ra, which is good news for anyone that loves the law of one, Ra, and life as Ka. Now, these are not necessarily the energies. Some people get confused. They think Ba, and then they think back to Egyptian times, and they think it has to do with Merkaba and those sorts of things, but it doesn't. These are much more foundational building blocks, which literally are the only thing that you come into this life with and that you will leave this life with again. Whether that is through death or through ascension or through alien abduction, I don't know. But one way or another, this is a finite experience, and at some point you will be done with it. When you are, all of those inverted geometries that manifested themselves as everything around you, the matter, the people you see, everything, will go back to those building blocks. That is what you will experience, because that is the original state from which you, as the creator self, hail. The place from which you come, in which you could even argue this entire reality that we currently sit in is being manifested. I speak about that a lot in videos starting in about 2018, I think, which you can also find on the website. In fact, I will say that the study on our website falls apart into 2 main blocks. The first one is the study of vibration, and that one ran from 2004-05 all the way into 2016. Now, mainly the work that is coming out now is called the study of the Pah. Now, the Pah is not short for path. The Pah is the unmanifestable reality that we hail from, the reality that is not form, the reality that is not vibration, the reality that is simply based on these building blocks that if you keep coming here, you're going to get very tired of hearing me say, because I say them a lot: love, joy, freedom, etc. Many people think many people think it's too simple to simply think that by working with those building blocks, everything else, all of the complicated information that you may have heard throughout the years in lectures, even in the study of vibration, if you know our work, but also in much of the other work that has been coming through ascended beings on this planet or via ascended beings brought to this planet, ultimately comes down to these basic things. Again, as I said earlier, this is why we started this place, to make a place where everyone can come and practice this and make it real. This is now only an introduction. But once we start our regular events, starting on the 29th of October, metaphysical salons we call them, everything will be very different. Yes, there will be channeled messages that you may sit and listen to, but most of the time it is going to be all of us that come through this body on a regular basis that are going to be working with you directly. This is a practical school, not a theoretical school. And if you go back far enough to the old work, to the first time I actually came into this body, which was in also in about 2006, when I was only coming in to present these channeled messages myself before I took over from Dayeshua-san. You can go back all the way there and see my modus operandi, my working method, which is going to be, and also of all the others, very practically driven, taking you deeply into metaphysical space and allowing you to find that there you can do things, you can experience things that are, technically speaking, from the perspective of science and from the perspective of mind, simply impossible. Now, I'm not going to be that person that says, when you say impossible, it says, I'm possible. I just was. But they are not impossible. Everyone that is here, that lives here with us, knows that these things are practical realities. Everyone that lives here knows that you can go into spaces that are metaphysical spaces, where you can be trained, where you can be taught, and come back to this moment without having lost a second here. All of these things may sound fantastical, but they are real. And it is my hope that in the course of the future of the self and the other, that is coming up, that you will start to not believe me, but that you will agree with me based on your own experiences. So, I hope that helped to add a little bit of context to what is going to come next. I thank you again, and maybe now it's time to get us into the meditation. What do you think, Bodhisankar? All right.